Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to have a review. So first, I want you to please make a list of compound nouns you can write with technology. For example, I wrote speech recognition. Write as many as you can in 1 minute. Once you finish, think about this. What do these things do? Please pause the video and think about this. Great. Now, let's go to our student book, page 103. Exercise 1. Here we're going to match a word from the column A with a word in column D to form compound nouns. Please pause the video while you work on this. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and continue. Now, I want you to please organize this sentence. You have 4 different clauses that you need to combine to make one complex sentence. Pause the video, please. Great, let's check. So you should have, because you will command your phone by voice, you will receive immediate feedback from an AI-powered virtual assistant, and you will never be disconnected, making any interaction instant and constant. Very good. Now, continue thinking about the sentence. How many clauses does it have? How many subordinate clauses does it have? And what are the subordinate clauses doing? I will show you the main clause. You will receive immediate feedback from an AI-powered virtual assistant. This is the main clause. How many subordinate clauses can you see? Yeah, we have 3. And what are they doing? They are giving more information about the main clause. They can go before the main clause, they can go after that. Now, let's practice. I want you to please combine the short sentences I have here into one complex sentence. You should have 5 complex sentences after you finish. Pause the video, please. Great. Now, let's continue talking about technology. I want you to please look at these pictures. How will these devices change in the next 2, 5, or 10 years? Please pause the video and write down some ideas. Great. Now, I want you to please read the sentences and match how certain you are of these things in the future. Number 1 means certain, you are sure that this will happen. 2, fairly confident, you are almost sure that this will happen. And 3, uncertain, you think it's possible, but you are not really sure. For example, we have travel by teleportation and force fields could become scientific realities within decades. Would you say that this is certain, fairly confident, or uncertain? Yeah, this would be uncertain. They could become. Very good. Now pause the video and do the other 2. Okay, let's check. Time travel will definitely be possible in the future. That is certain. Telepathy, force fields, and invisibility are likely to become reality at some point in the future. Here, we're fairly confident. We're almost sure. Excellent. Now, I want you to please classify these phrases into things that you think could happen. Like, you are uncertain, you're not really sure. Well, definitely, we are really sure that this will happen. And are likely to, we are confident, but we are almost sure. Please pause the video while you classify. Okay, we're going to check this together. Now, I want you to please write 5 sentences about what you think Guatemala will be like in these years. Pause the video, please. Okay, great. Now, I want you to please classify the phrases into what they mean. To consider something carefully, something that is not very important, a decision that cannot be reversed, to waste time being unable to make a decision, and to postpone making a decision. Please pause the video while you match. Okay, so for number 1, you should have letters B and E. To think things over, to think through all the possible consequences. Here we're considering something carefully. 2, when we say that something is not very important. Letters A and H. Not such a big deal, not the end of the world. A decision that cannot be reversed. C and I. Once you get one, there's no going back. What's done is done. To waste time being unable to make a decision. Letters D and F. Be there all the time and to go around in circles. To postpone making a decision would be letter G. Sleep on it. Great. Now I want you to write some sentences about your habits when taking different decisions. Pause the video, please. Great. Now I want you to please classify these law-related words into crimes, punishments, people, and legal processes. For example, arson. If you remember arson, is to set something on fire on purpose. Would this be a crime, a punishment, a person, or a process? Yeah, it is a crime. What about an attorney? That's people. Very good. Pause the video and continue classifying. Great. We're going to check this together, okay? Let's continue. I want you to please read the sentences. What is different between them? Do they have the same meaning? Do you think the person who wrote the sentences in pink understood the topic? Please pause the video while you think about this. Okay, so if you notice, these sentences have the same meaning. However, the order and sometimes some of the words are a little different. And, of course, the person that wrote the sentences that I wrote in pink understood the topic. So, if you remember, um, especially in academic writing, we usually paraphrase instead of quoting because this shows that you understood the source and makes your work a little bit more original. Now, remember the tips. Start your first sentence at a different point from that of the original source. You can use synonyms, change the sentence structure from active to passive, etc., and break the information into separate sentences. Now, I want you to please go to your student book, page 102, exercise 3. Write a second sentence that means the same as the first, using the words given. A man contacted me. I was contacted by a man. Very good. Pause the video and work on the rest. Great. We're going to check this in class. Now, let's read all of the sentences. When are they happening? They might have been distracted. They couldn't see the people crossing the street. They couldn't have prevented the accidents. They should have checked both ways before crossing the streets. They would have been more careful if they hadn't known what was going to happen. They would cross those streets every morning. They must have been terrified. They are in the past. Very good. Now, please read the sentences again, and I want you to please find a habit, an ability, possibility, or permission, something that is good or advisable, a recommendation, something you don't know or you're not sure if it happened, an opinion, something you think was impossible, and something you are sure that happened. Please pause the video. Okay, let's check. So the first one, they might have been distracted. You don't know about this. You're not really sure. They couldn't see the people crossing the street. This is a possibility that in this case they didn't have. They couldn't have prevented the accidents. That would be something that is impossible to do to prevent them. They should have checked both ways before crossing the street. That was the correct, they recommended thing to do. They would have been more careful if they hadn't known what was going to happen. It's your opinion. They would cross those streets every morning. A habit. They must have been terrified. You're sure that this was true. Great. Now, I want you to please come up with the structures. Pause the video while you complete this. Okay? Great. So we use would to talk about habits in the past. And we're going to use could to talk about past abilities, possibilities, and or permissions. Now let's remember here, we're going to use the base form of the verb. Let's continue. Now, One more time, pause the video and complete these structures. Great, let's check. We're going to use should or ought to have past participle to talk about things that were good or advisable, a recommendation. And we're going to use would have past participle to give your opinion about something that happened. Let's continue. Pause the video and complete these structures. Okay, let's check. We're going to use might, may, or could plus have in past participle to talk about things that you don't know or are not sure that happened. Like, they are possible, but you're not really sure. We use couldn't have past participle to talk about something that was impossible. Notice that you can use might not, may not have, but if you use couldn't have, you say that something is impossible, so it changes the meaning. We use must have in past participle to talk about something that you are sure that happened. Now, go to your student book, page 102. I want you to please read the story in exercise 3 again. What do you think had happened to the father? Complete the sentences with some of your theories. Please use the ideas over here. Pause the video, please. Okay, great. Now, look at these pictures. What do you think happened? Pause the video and write down some ideas. We're going to share in class. Okay, great, guys. Now, read these sentences. What is special about them? How is the word order special after the words neither, nor, so, and such? Now, if you remember, we're going to use an inversion, which basically is to change the order between the subject and the verb or the subject and the auxiliary verb. We're going to change positions. Neither could he, nor was she. So overcome was Mallory. Such was the predicament. Okay, great. Let's continue. Let's classify these words into morning, afternoon, and night words. Pause the video, please. Okay, let's check. So, the words that are related to the morning are dawn, daybreak, at the crack of dawn, first thing in the morning, in the small hours, mid-morning, and sunrise. Words for the afternoon, mid-afternoon, midday, and noon. Words for night, dusk, in the middle of the night, lasting at night, nightfall, midnight, sunset, and twilight. Very good. Now, pause the video and organize them. What happens first? What happens later? Pause the video, please. Okay, we're going to check this in class. Now, I want you to please write 5 sentences using these words. For example, I always take a nap at noon. Pause the video, please. Okay, great. Let's read these sentences. What are the words in pink doing? That's right, they are contrasting ideas. But if you notice, the position varies, and of course, the words that follow them might also change. Let's take a look at this. What is the position of them, and what are they followed by? Are they followed by a gerund? Are they followed by a base form? Think about this. Okay, let's go ahead and check. So, we're going to use although or even though in the beginning of the sentence, plus subject plus verb. This usually combines 2 clauses separated just by a comma. Despite and in spite of is very similar. They also go in the beginning of the first clause, but here we're going to use a verb with ing, a gerund, or a noun and not the base form. Now, however, strange as they may seem, are followed by subject and verb. They go in between the 2 clauses. Now, you may see that, however, is sometimes used at the end of the last clause, but that is not as common. We use yet and though to combine clauses. Yet is usually in the beginning and though is usually at the end of the second clause. You might find it sometimes between both clauses. Okay, great. Now, let's go to our student book, page 102. Complete the sentences with words or expressions from the box. Which sentence best describes how you slept last night? Please think about this and let's share during class. Pause the video, please. Okay, great. Now, I want you to please complete the sentences with the expressions I have over here. Pause the video, please. Okay, let's check. I would have liked to have gone in the low season. I think if I had taken those altitude pills, I would have been okay. It's too bad I couldn't have gone for longer. What are these sentences expressing? Regrets. Very good. Okay, now read the sentences. Do they mean the same? What words are repeated? If you notice, these sentences mean exactly the same. I wish I had gone in the low season. I would like to have gone in the low season. If only I had taken those altitude pills, I would have been okay. I think if I had taken those altitude pills, I would have been okay. It's too bad I couldn't have gone for longer. I wish I could have stayed for longer. Some of the words we're going to be using are I wish and if only. Let's take a look at the structure. If you notice here, all of the past perfect is in green and could have plus past participle is in yellow. Now, I wish and if only can be followed by either of them, past perfect or could have and past participle. But how does the meaning change? Please pause the video and think about this. Well, if we use past perfect, it means that we had the chance, we had the option, but we just didn't do it. I wish I had gone in the low season. I wish I had stayed for longer. Maybe I decided to do something else, but I actually had the option. If we use could have in past participle, this means that for some reason I wasn't able to do this. It was an external reason that didn't allow me to do it. I wish I could have gone in the low season. If only I could have stayed for longer. Great. Now, let's remember that we're going to use usually the clause with if. It's talking about the past situation here, since we're using past perfect or could have in past participle. We're using would have plus past participle in this case to talk about a desired past action, and we're using might be in this case to talk about a desired present result that is impossible. Now, let's take a look at the structures. Like I mentioned before, if plus past perfect or could have past participle refers to a past situation. Modal plus have plus past participle is a desired past action. Some examples could be could, would, might, should, plus have in past participle. Modal plus infinitive without to refers to a desired present result that is impossible. Might be on time in this case. Great. Now, read the sentences. How did I substitute if? Please pause the video and think about this. Okay, great. So if you notice, an option is to eliminate if and change the position of the subject and the auxiliary verb, inverse it and start with the auxiliary verb, then the subject. Or if you have a noun, you can start with but for the noun or but for a verb with ing, and then continue with the rest of your sentence. Great, let's continue. Now, I want you to come up with the structures for regret and would have liked. Pause the video, please. Okay, so here I have two options, but they have the same meaning. We can say regret plus a gerund, verb with ing, or regret plus having plus past participle. Another option is to use would have liked plus infinitive or would have liked plus to plus have plus past participle. Notice here that the infinitive has the to. Now, we use it's a pity or it's a shame plus simple past. Again, they have the same meaning. Look at the examples over here. Great. Now think about this. What do you regret most? Write two sentences using each of the previous structures. Look at my examples. I wish I had traveled in the beginning of the year. If only I could have studied school in Japan. Okay, guys, we're going to share this during our class, okay? I will see you then. Bye bye.